Mafia, and Lisa actually got a pair, and she was wondering how do we actually go from like having difficulty even closing the lightest pair. This is actually 100, but I believe hers has a 50-pound set as well. To eventually, like currently, I'm at the 200, but the goal would be to get to this guy, which is a 300-pound ripper, and that's not budging. So here's a few things that I do and how I use the grease the groove method. Okay, so if you're familiar with grease the groove, which I've talked about a lot, that's from Pavel. Dan John talks about it. It is one of the best ways to increase strength. There's a lot of overlap with the Bulgarian method, or the squat everyday method, more specifically, from Matt Perryman. But here's the basic idea. Strength is a skill. It's a neurological skill that we can develop. I like to oversimplify as much as possible. To me, strength is how hard you can squeeze your muscles. That's it. In a coordinated fashion, right? Depending on what you're doing. We can train that. We can train our nervous system to allow us to squeeze harder and harder. So grease the groove, how it works is, long story short, you're going to do sub-maximal reps throughout the day with plenty of time in between, which will allow you to get in more total reps in the day than if you were trying to do, let's say, a max set, right? It allows you to stay fresh. You never really fatigue, so you can just keep getting more reps and more reps and more reps, right? The key here is you never go to failure. You never even approach failure, okay? So that's the part that people have a difficult or some difficulty with. But let's do an example, right? Let's get some let's go some of the tech stuff here, but how I do it, but also how would you go about this in your day. So for me, I keep a bunch of these in my car. I have the 100-pound. The 100-pound for me now is, like, that's pretty easy. But I still want this because this is gonna allow me to do my sub-max work. So here we go. I have these in my car. As I remember, like I'm driving, right? Okay. I'll get in the car. I'm at a stoplight. I will grab the gripper and I might do, let's say for me, I can do 10 and the 10 would be very difficult. So I'll stop around 4 or 5. What I'm looking for is clean, fast reps only, where I'm not even close to failure, okay? That's the key here. So for me, like I'll do it, right? Okay, so I did 5 there. I know if I went for the 6th, 7th, 8th one, it's gonna start to slow down and it's gonna become more taxing. I'm not looking to tax myself, okay? Looking to get the stimulus. I'm looking to get a little bit, a few more reps, and then I leave it alone. I might come back, I'm going to one of my stores right now. I might come back in an hour and I might be like, oh, okay. And I might do another set, right? Again, nowhere near failure. So that's one way I do this. And over the course of the day, I might have gotten, let's say, 8 sets times 5. So I got 40 high quality sets versus, let's say I'm trying to do two sets or 3 sets to failure. Most of those reps are not going to be very good quality, and each set the reps are going to drop down because you're fatiguing. This way, I don't have any fatigue. I am simply I am purely working on the skill, the neurological component of strength. This is also for those people not interested in, oh, like, I don't want to get big, which A, is extremely difficult to do, but increasing strength without increasing size, this is how you do it. You focus on the skill aspect of this thing, okay? And that's also why, like, a big reason why, you know, I've gotten very, very strong, but I'm super skinny. I'm like 155 and I'm 5'11", but my lifts are bigger than vast majority of people, right? Especially when taking into consideration like height and weight. But the point of that is, that's how you go about this. Now, let's say you can't even, I want to give a few more technical things. That's how you do it throughout the day. Here are some like technique things that I use, right? One, I always set the gripper, I always set it up, right? So I try to hold it up here higher in my hand, and I'll hold this piece in here as I try to squeeze, okay? This gripper, the lower it gets in your hand, you can't squeeze it because your fingers close to 90 degrees. So you need to be able to, you need to get to that spot. If it gets too low, you can't reach down there, right? So one thing is, I always, you know, if I'm doing this side, I always like hold this piece here. I do the same thing on this side. Sometimes I hold it by the loop here and crush. Other times, like I'll secure this spot here and then crush, right? Other things you can do is, intention is very important. If you're just like, oh, trying to squeeze it, there's a difference between just squeezing it and then I'm thinking about I'm squeezing this gripper, I'm pulling my hand through, or my fingers through my hand. So it's not just like I'm just kind of hanging out here. I'm actively pulling through and crushing through the gripper, okay? If that makes sense. Intention is everything on lifting weights, right? And including grip strength. It's not just holding, it's crushing continuously and continuously applying pressure as if you're trying to pull your fingers through your palm, okay? Other ways you can use this, well, before we get there, let's say, so like one of our burrito diet or burrito mafia members, she was struggling even with the 50-pound to get it past here. That's fine. So secure it in your hand, okay? Secure it in that place. It could be held right here. I actually prefer holding it here because then it's set. But either one is fine. And then let's say you can only close it here. Cool. Do your grease the groove reps here. Have active intention of, I'm trying to crush through the handles. Last thing with this is you can also do holds. Holds are good as well, but even with holds, you don't want to hold through fatigue. You want to hold only where it still feels good, right? So you don't want to hold to failure, right? So let's say if I could hold 20 seconds, I want to stop at 10 seconds, right? So we got reps, we got holds, and then, you know, if you want to get a little bit more advanced, you can do, you know, certain fingers, right? Like I got my ring finger, that's barely gonna move. I got my pinky and my ring finger. All right, I got the bottom 3 fingers. That's moving a little bit more. But basically, your weakest fingers are going to be the limiting factor. So that's another thing you could do. What else? There's one more thing that I'm thinking of. You can also do upside down, right? You can work this angle. Intention, we already talked about intention. So just like a lift, like this is not just your hand. It will make a difference if you create tension in your entire body, right? So if I just sit here and go like this with my hand, okay, versus I brace myself, I get, everything involved, and it's a full body contraction, that's going to be different. Well, now I got too much. Now my hands are too slippery, but so that's that. I know that's a little bit all over the place, but there's a lot of different pieces here. There are people who have put together really good like grip programs. You could just search them online, but to me, honestly, the simplest way is the grease the groove method for me, and I just keep them in my car, and I'll just bang out reps throughout the day, and it does actually make a pretty significant difference fairly quickly, especially if you do it in the grease the groove method. Okay. If you have any questions, specific questions, let me know. As always, find me on Instagram, Red Beer Sangera. And yeah, let's not have no more soft summers, hard summers only. All right, summer is around the corner, and one of the important pieces is a nice set of forearms. And lastly, like, why would you want to increase your grip strength? Look, grip strength is a major correlating factor. Man, I have to say, I started getting allergy shots because apparently I'm allergic to everything. But my nose has been itching like crazy. Also, curious if anybody has gotten allergy shots. Like, what's your experience been? Because I know a couple people, they're like, I've never had it. They did it consistently for like 2 years, but they're like, I've never had allergies ever since. Which would be nice. Longevity, health in old age, mobility, those kinds of things. And then also, it's going to make all your lifts stronger. All your lifts will get better if your grip goes up.